Ngayong araw ng Lunes, pag-uusapan naman po natin ang tungkol sa Dia de Vicente Alvarez. Sino nga ba ito? At ano ang kanyang contribution sa atin? At ano ang pwedeng matutunan natin tungkol kay Alvarez? Muli po, makakasama natin si Sir Rovic Jan Eslao, ang historian ng Ateneo de Zamboanga University, founder ng La Liga Historia Zamboangueña. Sir Rovic, good morning!
Good morning, ate. Dito naman tayo ulit. Okay.
Yeah. Ayan, Sir Rovic, nako, Dia de Vicente Alvarez. Sino po ba ito? Pwede niyo po bang ipakilala siya sa amin?
Okay, before ako punta doon natin, no, I like to take this opportunity to note no na itong Dia actually this is something na is close to my heart because this was my thesis in my master's. So parang I would like to take this opportunity and thank you also for giving this opportunity to give this lecture to a broader audience, no, especially to Zamboanga. No? But I invite you, no, when I answer your question, sino ba ito si Vicente Alvarez? Tanong natin yung ano natin, ating mga viewers, no? So pwede ba kayong mag-leave ng comment siguro sino si Vicente Alvarez para makita din natin. Pero anyways, since today accordingly no is Dia de General Vicente Alvarez. So to point out lang sino ba ito just for a quick run through. So Vicente Alvarez is the known figure or leader of Zamboanga during the Philippine Revolution. So, ano ba ito yung Philippine Revolution? Ito na yung revolution ni Bonifacio pati ni Aguinaldo. So for the record, there are two phases of the Philippine Revolution. The first phase was against Spain. Was from 1896 to 1897. So this was the Bonifacio phase of the revolution. I still remember no, during our previous episodes, yung cry ng Balintawak. It was a disputed day and venue. So kaya meron tayong National Heroes Day. It was supposed to be last Monday of August, no? However, bakit walang specific day? Because yun na nga, it's still subject to debate. Kailan at saan ginanap yung unang pagpunit ng sedula, which was our cry or our signal for the revolution. So this was the first phase, okay, of the Philippine Revolution. It ended in 1897 with the signing of the Pact of Biak na Bato. It was an agreement between the rebels, or let's say the revolutionaries, and Spain to give up their arms. So eventually, the leaders of the revolution, this time Bonifacio was already killed. Aguinaldo is the undisputed leader of the revolution. They were exiled to Hong Kong. Here comes the second phase. So from around mga months ang pagitan, pumasok ang Amerika sa ating revolution. Here comes the second phase of the revolution. So it started on 1898 when we declared independence on June 12, 1898. Then of course later on, hinalaban na natin ang Amerika, the Philippine-American War. Now, here comes my thesis, no? Here comes my research. Ano nangyari sa Zamboanga during this time? Musta ang Zamboanga or anong ginawa ni Zamboanga during the Katipunan Revolution, during the Biak na Bato? Anong ginawa natin when Aguinaldo declared independence sa balkonahe, sa Kawit? So yan talaga nag-start yung desire ko for research, no, especially on history. So to point out, no, before going it there, kaya I would say, I argued at some point na there were three revolutions in Zamboanga. So the first revolution, which during the first phase, ikaw would you guess, saan nag-side ang Zamboanga? Sa Spain or sa Katipunan? Guess lang ate, just for discussion purposes. Based on what you know.
Para maiba, Spain. Baka
Spain. Okay. Tama! We were loyal to Spain. Zamboanga was loyal to Spain. We even sent volunteers to fight the Katipuneros. Ganun ka-loyal Si
Bakit?
Zamboanga sa Spain. Okay, that's a good question.
Mm.
It's something I have yet to articulate. But what I can hypothesize, no? Again, disclaimer to our viewers, I'm not here yet to build up. Kasi there are certain sources that we have yet to read. But based on what I read, it appears that parang favorite tayo ng mga Spanish. We were even awarded the so-called Leal y Valiente Villa, or the ever loyal and valiant village of Zamboanga, or town. No? So we were parang alagang-alaga tayo ng Span. That's how fierceful or how loyal we are. At some point we even had Chabacano as our.
Yan po ba ang reason? Bakit?
That's one. That can be one. No? Malakas yung Spanish influence natin dito. Plus, yung mga abuses ng mga priest or ng mga frailes doon sa Manila, yung mga sinusulat ni Rizal, did not happen here. Alagang-alaga tayo ng mga pari, accordingly, the Jesuits. So, there's no such abuses. So, how would we feel revolution, no? So, yun na nga. So, there's even a document that Zamboangueños thought ill of the Katipuneros for being disloyal to Spain. So, we were loyal. Then, of course, pagdating na ng yung patalo ng mga Espanyol, doon na tayo nag-konti-konti change. Okay. So, one of the leaders of our revolution here is Vicente Alvarez. So, the point lang, Vicente Alvarez accordingly was a employee of the Spanish government. He served as a translator for the Sultan of Sulu. No, sorry, baliktad. He was the translator of the Spanish government with the Sultan of Sulu. So, yun siya. Tapos ginamit niya yung position niya to build up the revolution in Zamboanga. So, when he went here around 1899, so this was months after the revolution in the areas there. So actually yung second phase, I would say, of the Philippine Revolution was more dynamic, was more full blown. So syempre dumating na dito mga revolutionary ideas, etc. So Alvarez was building up his army, and eventually attacked Fort Pilar. And in Fort Pilar, that's where, depending on which sources you're gonna read, it's either the Spanish surrendered or left Zamboanga already, or evacuated Zamboanga, because there is no point of staying in Zamboanga. They already signed the Treaty of Paris, selling the Philippines to Spain for $20 million. So dito papasok tayo yung sinasabi ng mga ibang tao na Republic of Zamboanga. So meron daw tayong isang republika na ginawa. So I'm here as a historian telling you that that's not yet verified, okay? I'm still under research for it. There might be a republic, or let's say a view of it, or an idea of it, pero letters do not reflect it. Like Alvarez never, so far, based on what I saw or read, he never used the republic in his own letters. Parang ganun ba? So, parang malabo pa siyang gamitin as a truth, no? Kaya other sources would use the word or the name Republic of Zamboanga in quotations. So, parang in doubt, no? Something like that. So, ngayon, to make the long story short, ngayon, Alvarez is seen by few, I would say, by not all Zamboangueños, unfortunately, know him. But in our city government, basically, had recognized him as our revolutionary hero. We have a city ordinance that designates May 18, 18 de Mayo, today, as Dia de Vicente Alvarez. Now, here's the thing. Today is not his birthday, nor his death day. Unlike Artilim, if you remember previously, the Dia de Artilim was his birthday. Dia de Cesar was his death day, his assassination. Dia de Caling I think last month, April 20,
Mm-mm.
was her birthday.
Mm.
But Dia de Vicente Alvarez is not about his birthday, nor his death day, but it's about the day when the Spanish surrendered Zamboanga to Alvarez.
Mhm.
So it's something na as a historian, I would be careful in making assumptions, no? Kasabay pa sa na May 18, no? Actually, if you really ask me, I would want it to rename the day something else.
Mhm.
So it could be the Revolution in Zamboanga Day or 18 de Mayo, Dia Ancina. Just like in Noeg Negros, they have this 5 de Noviembre, November 5. That's the day of the revolution. So why not ganun na lang? Now, here's my argument. Because the revolution did not the revolution here in Zamboanga is not solely on Vicente Alvarez. There are many others. No, there are many others. Now, okay lang ako mag-share ng PowerPoint because this is
Mm.
give you some insights on how we as the city commemorates the revolution.
Mhm.
So I presented this PowerPoint in my school during our regional research forum last month around March. So it's entitled Recuerdos de Revolución de Zamboanga, how the Philippine Revolution in Zamboanga is commemorated. So as you can see here, ate, this is a painting in our school commemorating the said revolution. Eventually, Vicente Alvarez yan nakabayo, tapos merong Philippine flag na baliktad,
Mhm.
shows us war. Tapos Fort Pilar, no? And Spanish there. So actually, meron akong mga problems dito on the said depiction. Number one, there is no evidence yet that we used the Philippine flag at that time. There are sources that even say we used a different flag of the Sultanate of Sulu.
Mhm.
So that's another discrepancy. Second, the Rayadillo uniforms were not yet, that used. So bakit meron tayong uniforms dito? Kasi Rayadillo, that's the Filipino soldier uniform at the time. Okay, and then meron din Moro depictions din dito. So it might be possible. So meron diyan mga may mga unverified. So this is something na I wanted to share to you and to the public. So in the national politics, the former Speaker of the House claimed that June 12 daw is inaccurate or false because sabi niya, I'll quote Battalion Alvarez, sa totoo lang, we only achieved full and complete independence on May 18, 1899, following the surrender of the last Spanish general, Diego de los Rios, to a Filipino revolutionary general based in Zamboanga. And that is Vicente Alvarez. So ito na, the greatest Zamboangueño who ever lived, which was used by these city ordinances. So there are two city ordinances that proclaimed Alvarez. So this is his bust, by the way. Ito yung picture niya. Wala yan sa Zamboanga. It's in Manila. It's in Manila. Just sa Rizal Park, no? There's a bust, no? Yung ulo, pati ang chest, no? Ni Alvarez. So ito yung something na I wanted to call out, no? Itong mga Facebook posts ko nakita are with AI are proliferating. Again, no, the Zamboanga Republic, iba man yung flag, saan nila kinuha yan? What's their basis? Ito pa yung sa El Colonialista. Wow, they have this picture, no? So parang may source ba ito, no? Pati sinasabi dito, Zamboanga once declared itself a republic separate from Aguinaldo's government. Pero on the source I read, they're connected naman. So mga ganun ba? So this is something I implore to my fellow Zamboangueños. If you see this Facebook post, please don't believe them immediately. Okay? I highly recommend consult with historians. No. At the same time, here is why. If you remember from our last episode, I commented on CHED's General Education Curriculum. So para something na tinanggal nila yung Philippine. kasi tapos lang ang aming summer, aming second sem. We taught his school or Historia y Cultura de Zamboanga. It's a local history subject. So hopefully our Zamboangueños will have, experienced this local history subject. So anyways, there were proposals to recognize Vicente Alvarez as a hero, no? So I would like to point out, the issue on politics of memory. So what is politics of memory? So it's used as a tool for ruling regimes of all political stripes selectively utilize the past as a strategic resource. So it's using history as a weapon. Okay? Which ones to be remembered, which ones should be personalized and institutionalized, and etc. So, ayun na nga, back to that notion, history is written by the victor. No? So anyways, so ito yung gusto kong sana, but I'll make it quick lang. So, politics of memory can be narrated, can be renamed by, public spaces and all, can be performed, and can be silenced, strategically silenced. So, makita mo yan sa Zamboanga, especially on Vicente Alvarez. So, based on my study, this is where I'm proud of, by the way, I saw 3 narratives about the Philippine Revolution and Vicente Alvarez. I call them the glorious narrative, the chaos narrative, and the tempered narrative. So, ano to yung mga narratives to atin, no? So, basically, just to make the long story short, there are 3 distinct characteristics of the sources. The glorious narrative says that the Spaniards surrendered to the Zamboangueños. They left Fort Pilar, they gave Fort Pilar to Zamboangueños, to Vicente Alvarez, and the sword of the Governor General was given to Vicente Alvarez. So, surrendered. So, pansin mo, the word palang surrendered, it gives something na, nag-battle, tapos, give up na kami. So, surrender. Pagdating sa tempered, parang neutral. Ang ginamit na word, entrega. Entrega. Actually, that's the word. Entrega, of course, means turn over or give away. So, hindi siya surrender. Ibang surrender kasi sa turnover. No? Turnover is like, alis na kami, sa inyo na to. So, parang ganun yung implications. And then, chaos, evacuation. It was rushed, unfortunate, and sad. So, parang, alis na kami kasi, so, chaos. So, yun na nga. These are 3 different perspectives. So, ayun na nga, I would like to ask my fellow Zamboangueños to be careful, when making conclusions because there are different nuances. Sa glorious narrative, merong Republic of Zamboanga. So, meron name, as in, yun na talaga name. Pagdating sa tempered, they don't use the Republic. They use the term revolutionary government. Those are 2 different names. Sa chaos, merong Republic of Zamboanga, pero nakalagay, quote and quote. So, parang doubtful. So, anyways, that's the narrative. So, I saw 3 narratives. Now, in the renaming or remapping, ito something na narratives can be converted into monuments. So, monuments, public spaces, historical markers, renaming streets. And often highly politicized and contentious. And kami, mga historians, are generally nowhere in a decision-making. Depende sino ang mayor, depende sino nasa power, kaninong monument gawin, no? So, ito yung sad part, sa aming mga historians. So, sinasabi ko lang, nagpaparinig na sana ako, na kung maggawa man sila ng mga ganyan, syempre, consult kami, mga ganun. Anyway, so these are the monuments na ginawa para kay, sa Philippine Revolution or para kay Alvarez. So, there is a bust, dun sa Rizal Park. Second, yung monument. Dapat may monument daw siya sa Zamboanga, pero it remains unbuilt. There are 2 historical markers. One is in Fort Pilar, pero sa Fort Pilar, never mentioned ang revolution. There's another marker, si Vicente Alvarez, doon sa Pueblo. I'll show a picture later. Tapos there are streets. There was supposed to be a General Vicente Alvarez Boulevard, but it got cancelled. it was assigned to a different street. So, meron na tayong General Vicente Alvarez Street. And of course, there are public spaces like the Plaza Vicente Alvarez, which is there now. So, wait lang, ha. Hanapin ko yung picture ng specific para makarelate ang ating mga viewers. So, apparently, ito yung klaro ba?
Mhm.
Oh, ito, that's the monument. And then, yan, ano. Ito yung Plaza Vicente Alvarez. I'm not sure if you're familiar din, no? Andyan yung Southway, yung Golden Bell. Oh, yung plaza na yan, pansin mo dyan, yan yung Plaza Vicente Alvarez. Which, it's so weird. It's closed to the public. I mean, these are places. Ito ang gusto ko i-call out ang government natin. Why are you closing parks? These are supposed to be public spaces where people can tambay and, you know, to take rest and all. Because these are public spaces, why are you closing it? So, parang ito yung gusto ko from our frustrations ko ba.
Ito
Anyway,
yung malapit sa City Hall.
Yes. So, di ba, Rizal Park, Rizal Monument, then the Plaza, then Plaza Pershing.
Oo.
So, people don't know him much because, you know, it's closed. How would people appreciate him or who would know him if the said space is closed? So, parang what's the point? No? Anyway, so, yeah, no? So, this is the Rizal Monument, City Hall, and the Plaza. Okay, so the Rizal Monument is, this is UZ, no? Yung part na yan dyan. Now, historical markers. So, ito na, may, andyan yung monument niya. Yung marker. Pero paano mo manibasa ang marker kung close ang plaza or ang park? So, yan. So, that's the historical marker. Ito yung marker niya sa Manila. Pansin mo din, te, hindi din magkatugma. Doon sa Manila, 1854 ang kanyang birthday year. Pagdating dito sa Zamboanga, 1862. So, which one is which? Namatay siya 1910, sa kabila 1942. So, mayroong mga discrepancies pa kailangan nating ayusin before pa siya dapat i-declare as a hero. So, to be honest, no, for me as a historian, kailangan natin yan siyang i-evaluate ng maayos before natin ilagay sa pedestal ng isang tao. So ito, for example, yan, the difference of the birth and death years are evident. It does not mention the May 18 date. So, why May 18? Mga ganun ba? So, if the May 18 is the so-called day of this Vicente Alvarez, why was it not reflected on his markers? So, ito pa, Alvarez was the supreme head of the revolutionaries in Zamboanga starting June to December. But in the records, it was May to November. So may discrepancy na naman. So these conflicting versions of Alvarez monuments reflect the need for more research to resolve it. That's why for those who love history, please join us in Ateneo de Zamboanga. We're offering MA History. So please avail our master's program. So sorry tayo, nag-add na ako advertisement. Anyway, so ito yung sa fourth pillar na marker, no? So pansin mo dyan, the absence of the reference to the revolution cannot be ignored as the said fort was witness to the revolution. So you might wonder, if this was a big deal, then why is not in the marker? So that's something na fishy. Anyway, so ito ang mas worse ate. Renaming streets. So in Ordinance number 954 in 1966, if I'm mistaken, there was supposed to be General Vicente Alvarez Boulevard. So hero man siya, di ba? So the boulevard was from City Hall to Fort Pilar. Yan. The entire stretch of the street in front of City Hall going to Lantaka, going to Fort Pilar is supposed to be General Vicente Alvarez Boulevard. However, weeks later, 49 days later to be exact, the City Council amended that ordinance, reassigning Vicente Alvarez to a minor street sa taas. And this road, yung boulevard ngayon, is now Nicasio Valderosa Street.
Mhm.
So, you might, as a historian, I might wonder,
Bakit?
why did they transfer big names such as Vicente Alvarez to a minor street? Meron ba siyang ginawa na yun nga, these are some questions that are yet to be resolved. Why in 1969, there was already an effort to recognize Vicente, kasi yung declaration ng kanyang pagkahero was in 1998, almost 100 years later. So if he was a hero, if he was a big deal, he could have been declared a long time ago. Why it took some time? So, in this case, for Vicente Alvarez, mayroon na sana siyang boulevard. Pero he was demoted to a smaller street. So, people will really wonder, no? Like us, no? Tapos, if we go to the performing, di ba? Tatlo man yan, apat na yun, di ba? Sa parties memory. Narrating, renaming, performing. So, sa performing, dito ako nag-start as a historian, actually. So, 2010, there was a tarpaulin declaring him as the revolutionary hero. In 2014, I joined an oratorical contest. Thank God, I also won.
Wow.
Pero yung pagka-win ko, may caveat yun. Kasi dalawa lang kami nag-join. So parang default ang pagkanalo. Anyways, so yan, I mean, that enabled me. Later on, the city government would organize events. So yan, that's in 2017. This was in 2018, 2019. So every year meron, no? There is really a program. Ito din, it is in 2023, they had a forum, no, on Vicente Alvarez. So parang he's already a big deal accordingly in the city government's eyes. I'm not sure with the people, no, if they really know Vicente Alvarez. Now, here is some I would offer a counter memory. So parang if Vicente Alvarez is right now a hero, dito siya, anti-hero. So there was an Occupation Day celebration. Yun. The people please at their liberation from the tyranny of the República de Zamboanga as the insurrectionary government was receiving them with open arms. Sinasabi dito that the Vicente Alvarez Republic is a tyrannical government. Mas malala pa sa martial law. So parang so should he be a hero? Mga ganun ba? So there are questions to his heroism, no? Or his so-called status, no? So that's something na we have to look out for. And ito, the fourth one is strategic silencing. So there are some figures that are excluded from the narrative. For example, si Dato Mandi, pati si Isidoro Midel. So Dato Mandi, just for context, he is the Moro chieftain here in Zamboanga. He lives in Sacol Island at this time. So if you're familiar with Sacol Island, no, that's a island in the east of Zamboanga. And Isidoro Midel is the mayor of Tetuan. In the glorious narrative, they're the so-called villains because they betrayed accordingly Alvarez. So pero syempre, there were reasons accordingly that they sided with the Americans because they see Alvarez as the troublemaker. So may mga ganong nuances. We have to be careful with that. Tapos, itong appropriation, they already appropriated Alvarez as the winner, the victorious one. But it silenced the fact that useless ang kanyang victory because Spain already signed the Treaty of Paris. So parang there's no point on giving Zamboanga to Alvarez because wala na, it's already under US, parang ganun ba? That's something na we have to be careful. And then since in the case of us here in the revolution, this is what I would like to point out, no, that the city government had chose Vicente Alvarez as the embodiment of the Philippine Revolution. So such heroism stands not only based on the ideals of the revolution, but rooting from his identity as a Sambongueño, drawing heavily from the glorious narrative. Here is my point. I would like to impart wisdom, no? So, lingon sa kasaysayan, no? This is the danger of legislated history, is that it selectively use narratives to elevate a particular agenda. So, ito yung problema kung i-legislate mo yung kasaysayan. Kasi mawawala kami ng trabaho, mga historians, kung gano'n. So, dapat, research mo na bago magawa ng ordinance. No? So, these issues clearly shows the gaps on the Philippine Revolution here in this side of our nation. Hence, studies are necessary to enrich its literature. These topics should be discussed and clarified within the world of academe before legislation, not after. So that's something na it underscores the need for more critical, source diverse, and inclusive approaches to public history, commemoration, and local governance, particularly in Zamboanga, because we have so many cultures here in plural spaces. History should guide policies, not politics dictate history. So it's something that I would like to end that mini lecture on Vicente Alvarez. So actually, there's no dispute that Vicente Alvarez was indeed the leader of the revolution here in Zamboanga. But as in fairness to the others who also helped him, like Melanio Calixto, unfamiliar? Melanio Calixto, Juan Ramos, Isidoro Midel, Mariano Arquiza, and many others, no? These are unknown names. So it would be better for us to understand them rather than only on one person. That's why to be honest, I'm kind of opposed. This is my personal opinion as a historian. I'm kind of opposed to the Dia de Vicente Alvarez as a commemoration because it only elevated one person. When in fact, it should also look on the others, no? That's why I really would like to call in support for researchers like us in the academe to eventually elevate these truths out. So I hope I made it clear.
Maraming salamat po. Pero siguro Sir Rovic, no, para mas yung mga young people natin mas may makuha. Anong wisdom siguro ang pwedeng makuha natin doon sa buhay ni Alvarez? Siguro kanina during your presentation may mga questionable pa, may mga dapat pang ayusin, siguraduhin, may kailangan pang i-check, i-evaluate, i-assess. Meron pang dapat hindi talaga i-declare, no? Kasi talagang kailangan pa ng malaliman na investigation.
Yes. Correct. Pero actually, I felt like like an NBI investigator going on to these leads, no. Pero for our young people to understand, mahirap nga ang history to tell you, no. This is not just memorizing dates kasi. This is more on really finding out the cause and effects of events, which eventually would help us understand ano man problema natin ngayon, no? So, siguro from the life of Vicente Alvarez, I really cannot give something in substance. But from my journey studying the revolution that includes Alvarez, you don't need to believe immediately what you read. No, let's be critical, no, critical thinkers. Just like in the Bible, no, you exegete, no, before, especially ito ba mga pet peeve ko din no, like magsabi sila, I alone, God alone can something ba yun, or I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Tapos they would use it in many aspects, no. But they have not read the entire chapter. It was written by Paul inside the prison. That was the context. Okay. So that's why we have to do exegesis. So actually, ganun din ginagawa ko. That's also exegesis also in my part. I have to understand where does the surrender came from, the word surrender, the word entrega, no? Or that's why I made those conclusions on their narratives. So it's something na, as Christians also, I'll connect this with being a Christian. That's why when we read the Bible, devotional is not enough, no? For us to study the Bible, we need to exegete. We need to understand the context. You don't need you can't just read one verse. You have to read the entire chapter, even the book, to understand the context of the author. So it's something na we Christians, especially our young people, I really encourage everyone, especially the young ones, to really explore the Bible, because the Bible is indeed God's revelation to us. It's the way, if you want God to speak to you, it's not in your dreams. Although He can, if He wants to, of course, but He can speak through us through the Word, through His Word, which is in the Bible.
Mhm. Kung hindi kaya, may portion na hindi maintindihan, may mga commentaries, reliable,
Yes,
pwede,
yes,
basahin.
commentaries.
Ganyan din pong ginagawa nyo po, di ba?
Yes,
Sir
yes.
Rovic, pag may inaaral kayo sa history, kulang ng information, may pwedeng puntahan na mga
So yun na,
reliable source.
if we go back to the study of history, there you have two ingredients, primary and secondary source.
Mm.
So the primary source, yan na, the letters, which
Mm.
I read yung Alvarez, yung siya talaga nagsulat, no? Secondary source, yung mga ibang authors na nag-interpret, ganun. So, same sa Bible, the Bible is the primary source, the commentaries are the secondary source.
Mhm.
So actually, the secondary source can help you understand the primary source.
Mhm.
That's something na hopefully we can do as Christians more often.
Marerelate din po natin siya muli sa mga news ba no na napapakinggan natin ngayon.
Yeah,
yan po.
yeah.
Check nyo
Pwede,
rin po. Oo, check nyo. Pagkumpara nyo po lahat, di ba?
Pero yun lang, ang problema din, mag-doom scroll lang tayo.
Yun lang.
Pagod na mag-isip.
Oo,
Yun lang
minsan
din,
din,
that's something.
yung fault natin, yung itong short video lang ating pinakinggan, hindi yung buong video.
Exactly.
diba?
Yung mga ganun.
Oo, tapos ginudge na natin to, pero hindi natin nakita, narinig, meron pa pala dito banda na kaya siya napunta doon. Naku, ang ganda po ng natin ngayon. Another lesson. May idadagdag pa po kayo bago tayo mag-end?
Okay na tayo, te.
Oo.
Unless meron ka
So,
pa din yan.
Yes, sa ating mga young people ha, hindi natin dinidiscredit kung ano yung naambag ni Vicente, pero
Yes,
mahalaga
yan
po. Oo, mahalaga rin po na 'di ba, sa lahat ng gagawin natin, gusto nating pag-aralan, lagyan natin ng effort na talagang alam mo 'yon, makuha mo talaga yung pinaka-source para tama, accurate talaga yung mai-interpret mo, maiintindihan mo, mai-share mo sa iba. Ayan. So, Sir Rovic, nako, maraming salamat. Kailan tayo
Sure.
ulit? Ha?
Pag-usapan din yun later.
June. Oo, June 12.
June-
Kanina na-mention nyo ang June 12.
June 12. Actually, tatlo yan. June 12, June 19, June 23. Meron yan.
Oo, ang dami niyan. Ibubuk na kita talaga.
Nako. Sige,
Ayan.
salamat.
Maraming salamat po sa ating mga tagapakinig, radyo at Facebook, sa ating technician, Kuya Rolando Alfonso, Kuya Romel Paulino, at muli kasama natin si Sir Rovic Jan Eslao ng Ateneo de Zamboanga University. Ako po si Sara May Tulabing, nagpapaalalang posible ang pagbangon at pagbabago. Tayo po ay maging bahagi ng solusyon ngayon. Sama-sama tayong umaksyon dahil oras na Zambasuta.